Hello and welcome. This is the Institute of Real Estate Education's Utah Law Review. So if you have come here thinking you're going to get some national information, because normally real estate exams have a national portion and then they have a state portion. Don't watch this video because this is just for our Utah students, okay? Because we're talking about Utah law. Um, However, if you really want to pass a Utah law session or need to, then hey, you're in the right spot. So let's go ahead and start. With us tonight is Dan Naylor, the owner of our school, the Institute of Real Estate Education, and extremely involved in real estate issues all across the state. So let's start with this simple little screen. Okay, we have a governor in the state of Utah, and we have a legislature. Of course, they're elected. Now, the governor's a full-time person, but the people that are elected to the state legislature, they make laws and they make criminal law and they make civil law, it's not a full-time job. Yeah, they come in for the legislative session and they usually rent somewhere for a few weeks or months or whatever it's going to take, and then they leave. But we do have laws, okay, and then we have a Department of Commerce, and under the Department of Commerce we have a division of real estate, and their mandate is, like the insurance department or the real estate division. These are parts of state government that are there to make sure that things work well in their particular interest. And so what happens is we have a director, and the director is a full-time employee as well. And then under the director, there's a bunch of licensing staff investigators who might come out and want to look at your records once in a while, okay? And they're kind of like the real estate police, be with the director and their staff legislature. And then we have a commissioner. On the commission, as you can see here in our little illustration, we have 5 members of the real estate commission. And being on the real estate commission is a big responsibility. It's also a real honor. And what happens is you are appointed by the governor with the approval of the Senate, the state Senate. So there's kind of a political element to it as well. But they make rules, not laws. They make rules. Okay. Well, who makes the rules? Well, the legislature does. They make laws, including civil and criminal laws. Okay. But the division is part of the Department of Commerce, like it shows here in a little illustration. On the very top right, Department of Commerce, we have the real estate division, and they have other divisions as well, like the insurance department and whatnot. Then there's a director, full-time person, and then he has a staff, like investigators and administrators and whatnot. And they make rules, okay? And they also enforce the rules. So here are Real Estate Commission. Now, on the Real Estate Commission, like I said, they make rules, not laws, and you can see there's 5 of them. They have to come from 4 of them are real estate people, and 1 of them can't be a real estate person. But usually they're someone that's kind of aligned to real estate or has interest in real estate, like they own a title company. They could be title people, or sometimes they're lenders. I've even seen builders put on there, over the years. But they have to come from 5 different counties. Now you're always going to have one for Utah County, Salt Lake County, Weber County. I mean, all the big counties. So, we have a lot of counties in Utah. So there's a lot of counties in Utah that, are sparsely populated. And I don't know, if you gave enough to the governor's campaign, you might get put on. But one of the things that they do is they hold hearings, and usually they come in once a month for those. During COVID, they did it, by telephone, and so they had cameras as well. But they hold hearings, and they call their licensees, the real estate professionals, to task. So we have 4 real estate professionals. Usually they're brokers, but they don't have to be a broker. We had one lady that was put on the division as a salesman, and she was a little bit embarrassed. So, she decided to come back to school and get her broker's license while she was on the real estate commission. And they hold hearings. And it's like we said, they're appointed by the governor with the approval of the state Senate. Okay. Let's look at the next slide, please. So now we're going to get into some questions, with that little basic background I just gave you. But here's an individual named D who has out been buying new homes. This is the kind of guy you want to have, because he does doing multiples. Instead of selling his old houses, He's rented each of them. So he finds a new home, and then he buys it, and then he moves into the new home, and he rents the old home. And he's been able to accumulate 6 houses. It's cool. So the question I have for you is, he's renting these out and he's managing his own stuff. Does D need a real estate license? Well, A says yes, they do. B says what D is doing is illegal. What, buying real estate is illegal? I don't think so. Well, then he must be an attorney. C, no, he doesn't have to do that. Correct answer to this is he doesn't need a real estate license. He's an investor. He's an owner. If he was listing and selling other people's properties without being an owner, well, then you need to have a license. But here, it's not a event that requires a license because he's buying for his own account. Okay, let's look at 2, please.
Hey, hope you're enjoying the video. Be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss any more of them. And if you want even more review material, we have in the PrepMyExam link in the comments. We've got a plethora of practice exams. We have audiobooks. We have an exam simulator. We have everything that our students use to pass the exam on their first try. Okay? And if you want to get licensed in Utah, check out realestateonlinelearning.com and we'll hook you up.
Number 2 says B has a real estate license but it's currently inactive. Okay, they sold their home, bought a new one. What is true? B should have activated their license before buying and selling a home. Okay, I think that's probably a pretty good idea. B must consult a broker before buying a home. You don't have to consult a broker. B must take continuing ed credit before buying or selling a home. These are 2 different activities, okay? Here you have a guy that's an investor and going out and buying his own properties. You don't need a license for that. And even if you have a license, it could be inactive and you don't have to activate it. Although if you did activate it, you might be able to participate in the commission on the buyer's side because you are the buyer. And that's actually worth quite a bit of money. I think everyone ought to go out and get a real estate license for no other reason, so you understand the process better. But the correct answer to number 2, guys, is B. So let's look at number 3. Now, number 3 says a real estate commission is appointed by who? And I already gave you this a couple of times. They're appointed by the Department of Commerce. No. Election. No. Committee. No. It's the governor. It's kind of semi-political, You really want to get on a commission? No, make out big checks for the governor's election campaign and let it be known. You never know. It wouldn't hurt. So the correct answer to this one is the governor. They're appointed by the governor with the approval of the state senate. So, we have our own state senate hearings, to see if they think that you're capable and worthwhile and good enough to serve as a commissioner. Let's look at number 4, please. Who defines the standards of conduct for a real estate broker? Is it the commission, a director, or the director of education, or the attorney general? Okay, well, guys, who makes the rules? Well, it's the real estate commission. Absolutely. A. These aren't that tough, but what it does is it creates a little doubt in your head sometimes. Well, wait a minute. The director of real estate, division of real estate, maybe. No, he's an administrator. Okay. The commissioners bop into town every month or so. They get a little per diem and traveling money, and they get put up in a hotel. During COVID, it was all electronic, so they didn't get a hotel. But it's kind of how it works. Let's look at number 5, please. So who creates the rules for property management companies? Not sales, but management. Well, is it the director of education, attorney general, or the commission? Come on, you're on to me now. It's the real estate commission, right? Yeah. They're the same people that make the rules, whether it is for sales side or management side. It still requires real estate licensing in most cases, unless it's all your own properties. If it's all your own properties, you don't need a license to buy your own stuff and to take care of your own stuff. But if it's somebody else's, see what happens is, I mean, you should always be looking for multiples. Okay. So if you have a beautiful home, gentleman walks in, says, "Oh, I love it, I want to buy it." You find out he's some sort of fancy surgeon somewhere at the University of Utah Medical Center or whatever. You ought to be asking him, who else do you know that wants to buy real estate? Okay. But property management is another kind of layer of that, and that's, you know, that's kind of how it works. Okay, so it's the real estate commission once again, but I don't think that one tricked you so badly. Let's look at number 6. Number 6 is the director of the real estate, the division of real estate is appointed by who? The executive director, Department of Commerce, the governor, the election, an election, or a committee. Well, there might be some committees that worked on it, but you're not appointed by a committee. Who do you think appoints you? Okay. Well, guys, if you're kind of leaning for the executive director of the Department of Commerce, yeah. See, the Department of Commerce is over other divisions. It's over the insurance department, it's over the real estate division, and some others as well. They also get into contractors licensing and a few other things. But the executive director, this is a pretty high level state job, and you got a lot of responsibility. But anyway, let's look at number 7. Hey, wake up, because this one says the Utah Real Estate Division is part of what? Well, is it the Tax Commission? Is it the Utah Department of Internal Affairs? Is it the Real Estate Commission? The division is not part of the commission. The commission is part of the division. I don't know. Well, yeah, whatever. Okay. Well, number 7 is the answer to this. The answer is A, the Utah Department of Commerce. So you have to be a little bit familiar. Look, if you're rolling into our state from another state, you've been licensed in another state, you're going to do well in the national law. You didn't forget everything. You need to get brushed up on that real good, but you have to pass each portion of the state real estate exam here in Utah independently of each other. So in other words, on the national portion, you could get a 90%. Of course, you're not going to know. They're just going to tell you passed. But you don't average it together. If you didn't get your minimum score on the state exam on the state portion as well, you got to pass both portions with a good solid C minus. Look at number 8, please. Number 8 says the Utah Division of Real Estate is authorized to regulate interest rates, mortgage lending officers, real estate commissions. So the state government tells you what you should or should not get for a commission. Home prices. Well, guys, come on. It's got to be B here, right? Because that is another part of their responsibility is mortgage lending officers. They also license them as well. So, and, you could hold a mortgage license. You could be a lender and you could be a realtor at the same time, real estate agent. But you can't do both on one transaction. And in other words, you can't be the lender and a realtor on the same transaction, but you could be the lender over here and a realtor over there. Which I'd say you're probably a little schizophrenic, but whatever. Let's look at number 9. This business demands a lot of you. Who is primarily responsible for enforcing the rules and regulation related to real estate transactions? Is it the AG, Division of Real Estate, the legislature, or principal broker? Okay. All righty then, guys. What do you think? Oh, come on. It's got to be the Division of Real Estate. I mean, that each individual division or each individual department in state government is responsible for their little area, whether it's engineering or physician licensing or chiropractic physician licensing. They all have their own little niches that they work. But the one that's primarily responsible for rules and statutes related to real estate transactions has got to be the Division of Real Estate. Okay. Let's look at number 10, please. The Board of Realtors is our private club. It's a private association of real estate professionals that what do they do? Well, is it led by the Real Estate Commission? No, this is us. This is on the licensee side, not the state government regulator side. Has regulatory authority? No, not really. I mean, we don't even never really, occasionally we kick someone out of the club, but not very often because we want the dues. Yeah. Anyway, has regulatory, no, they don't have regulatory. Administers real estate licensing? No. What do? We enforce our own code of ethics. And if you happen to be a member. Now, you don't have to be a member of the Board of Realtors, but if you want access to the multiple listing service, you need to be a member of the Board of Realtors. And so most people do join. However, I know a lot of agents that don't, like they just only do business park type leasing and that type of thing. And, they've got their niche or they do property management and they got, they're managing 3 or 4 of those big, huge apartment complexes in town, then maybe they don't need to join our board because they're not really involved with sales that much. Let's look at number 11. When the Division of Real Estate receives a complaint from the public against a licensed agent, they will notify the agent of the complaint. And how many days does the agent have to respond for that? Is it 10, 15, 30, or 60? Well, complaints are something that they're really right on top of. It used to be that each complaint was investigated in the order that it came in. And then some inspired individuals said, well, wait a minute, a lot of these are frivolous, a lot of these are minor. And so we're working on a lot of this stuff in the order of appearance. And a lot of it's just this minor nonsense. And we need to work on the serious stuff first and let the other stuff, we'll get to it when we get to it. Anyway, so how long do you have to answer? You have 10 days. Okay. It's 10 days. The 10 days is actually for several other issues. So just, 10 days. Just remember that one. Number 12. We got a couple of brokers here and having a dispute over commissions, and you're arguing over it. What's the Division of Real Estate going to do? Well, the Division of Real Estate is going to do nothing. They take no part in disputes about commissions. They say, look, you guys play nice in the playground and be nice to each other, but we're not going to get involved with telling you what you can make on a commission, or if a listing agent said he'd give you a $500 bonus and then he didn't do it. Well, they're not going to get involved with that. That's something they just say, go sue each other in court. What they are very interested in is anytime you violate a rule or a regulation, or if you do things that show blatant dishonesty, like you commit loan fraud or you phony up documents, to help someone get a loan. I mean, ridiculous, stupid things like that. Okay. Well, number 12 says it is will take no part in disputes about commissions unless license law was broken. Okay. They're not going to put you on probation until the dispute is resolved, but they're going to follow it because they're looking for wrongdoing. We'll hold a hearing before the commission, perhaps. We'll side with the listing selling broker. What if they're the one that was in the wrong? They're going to side with the one that was not in the wrong. Let's look at number 13, please. Okay, we're talking about trust funds. Trust funds are monies that belong to someone else. Usually it's earnest money. Sometimes it's by contract, it could be some other things. But if trust funds are mishandled, the Division of Real Estate, what can he do? Can he freeze a trust account? What do you think, guys? Hi, I'm with the real estate division. They have to walk into bank, and I'm here to freeze the account of Hot Dog Realtors. And the bank is going to say, huh? Where's your court order, buddy? Well, I'm with the, I don't care who you're with. If you don't have a court order, we're not freezing anybody's account. In fact, as soon as you walk out, I'm going to call him. He's my buddy and tell him to get his money out of the bank. They can't freeze your account. Okay. B, we'll ignore the first offense. Yeah, right. Ignore an offense? I don't think so. We'll protect the broker from lawsuits. No. Can issue a cease and desist order. That's what they can do. They can say, what you're doing, we're going to have a lot of discussion on because we think it's over the edge, or what you're doing is absolutely over the edge. Okay. So we don't want you to do that anymore. They could issue a cease and desist. Yeah. And you better follow it. I mean, the worst thing you could ever do with a regulator is to ignore them and not give them their sense of glory and power, because they have glory and power over you. So, I would suggest, you make yourself available to them. They're always looking for help on various committees that they have. I would suggest you serve on some of those committees, because that way you're going to get to know the commissioners, at least the current crop. And so what happens on the commission is that everyone doesn't expire all at once. There's 5 commissioners, and so this one falls off this year, next year. Usually they don't have more than one falling off in any one particular year. Let's go to number 14, please. When the Division of Real Estate receives a complaint from public that brokers, use trust account money for their own business, they get real, right on it, and they get very interested in finding out exactly what happened there. And So the answer to this one is they will investigate and possibly hold a hearing before the commission. That's exactly what they're going to do. So A is the correct answer. Or B, they could keep the complaint on record, but wait to discipline the broker until more serious. Okay. It's all serious. Okay. Even if you think it's minor, it's all serious. Okay. If you move, for instance, you got to let them know within 10 days, what your new address is. There's something, oh, I forgot, okay, they'll keep the complaint on record, but wait to discipline the broker. No, they'll receive all agent license. They'll remove all agent license for that brokerage. Well, maybe if it's a problem with the broker's license, they have to. I mean, if you don't have a broker anymore, you don't have a company. They'll automatically turn the case over to the AG. No, they're going to slap you around on your own. Number 15, please. Number 15 says the Division of Real Estate may issue a written notice to correct your or the agent's behavior. An agent shall have a minimum of how many days to correct the behavior. Okay. We'll take a wild guess, guys. It's not 10 now. I'll give you that one. So it's either 15, 30, or 60. 15 kind of feels fast, and 60 feels slow, and it's not 10. So guys, it's obviously it's 30. Okay. Now this is after you've had the hearing. This is, and they're going to say, okay, here's the problem. All your signs are wrong. It needs to, you're calling yourself this particular name, and that's what's on the sign, but that's not who the license was issued to. The name on the license is different, and instead of Hot Dog Realtors, it was Very Hot Dog Realtors. Whichever one was the legal name has to be the one on everything. So, they're going to give you written notice, and they're going to want to make sure it's done within the 30 days. Now, please, sometimes when they give these written notices, it's kind of a semi slap on the face or on the hands with a ruler. And it's, they're going to say, okay, what you did was wrong, and we're going to fine you, and we're going to and you're going to have to prove to us you've corrected your behavior. And so like change around how you do your bank accounts or whatever it was they were upset about. Okay. And they're giving you 30 days. And I've seen, and sometimes to just jab you a little bit more, or to make sure you wake up and don't do these kinds of things again, they'll say, and we want you to take 6 hours of CE credit in regards to rules and regulations, and we're not going to give you credit for it, but you got to take 6 hours. So I've seen brokers do everything you're supposed to do, but they didn't take the CE credit hours. What the heck? It was part of your penalty. It was part of the written notice they gave you, the written connection notice. Now, please understand, this correction notice, okay, this written correction notice is a gift from the real estate gods. And what I mean by that is it doesn't go in the newsletter. You see, we have a newsletter that's issued quarterly, and in that newsletter, as soon as we get it, we all flip to the disciplinary sanctions and see which ones of our buddies got in trouble and what they did. Well, that's where they're going to say and you have to take these CE credit hours, But remember, this is an informal type thing. So this doesn't hit the newsletter. If it hits the newsletter, it's, someone Googles your name on the internet, that newsletter may very well appear because your name was in the newsletter, which is in the public record. So if they tell you have to take 6 hours of credit, please go take the stupid 6 hours of credit and do it in a timely basis that they gave you, because if you don't, it's going to get worse. Instead of being a private correction letter, they could now come back and say, hey, you're not respecting our authority, so we're going to up the fine and we're going to put you in the newsletter. So now your name has that taint to it. Now you're going to have to hire some computer gurus to put so much stuff on the internet it doesn't show up on your search engine until page 16, maybe. But it's going to be a mess. It's going to hurt you. Don't do that. Number 16, if they ask you to do something, get it done. Get it done. If an agent breaks a real estate rule or statute, who would they go to before a hearing? In other words, who's handling the hearing? Well, okay, it's the real estate commission once again. It's not their broker. I mean, your broker is going to come in and say, well, tell me what happened, and let's get together with the other broker. Let's see if we can work this out. And if you can work it out, it's great. Okay. But if you can't, then it's not so great. And then maybe they file a complaint. I don't know. I mean, but before a hearing, you're not going to be before your own broker. You already had all those discussions. It's not going to be before the director of the division of real estate or the legislature. They don't have time for all this stuff. It's the real estate commissioners. And how many of them are there? 5. Now, the nice thing is, remember that 4 of the 5 are real estate agents or brokers. Okay. So, they've been there. They have other agents sometimes working for them. They've seen a lot of things. Maybe they've even done a couple of things. I don't know. But what I'm saying is, they're probably going to understand your situation better than any other person, and they're going to cut you some slack if they can. But if they ask you to do something like in that previous question, you dang well better get it done, or they're going to come back and say, look, we had one gentleman, broker, when I was on the board of directors of the Salt Lake board. Now, this is the board itself. I was on the board of directors. It's an elected position. And he was constantly teaching his agents to do sneaky or bad things or stupid things. So we pulled him in. Says, you can't, this is not what we do. Okay, you do it like this. And 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 he was argumentative. I mean, so the fines kept going up. Started at 500, then went to 1,000. The biggest fine I've ever seen the board levy was $5,000 on this guy. Well, eventually he got out of the business, which was good. Number 17. If you're not following the rules, you probably need to go somewhere else, because we're regulated tightly and we're watched. And who's going to turn you in? All your competitors and everybody else that saw you do this stuff. If an agent breaks a rule, okay, the real estate commission can do what? Can they impose fines? What do you think, guys? Can they impose fines? Can they tax their property? Can they foreclose on their home? Can they send them to jail? Okay. Who can send you to jail? A real judge, not the real estate commissioners. Could they foreclose on their home? Yeah, if they're the lender and they have a lien against it, but that's not what we're taking here. We're talking about breaking a rule of the commission, okay, or breaking a commission rule. Are they a taxing authority? No, but what they can do here is they could impose some fines. And there used to be some really small limits on fines, like $500, but a lot of that's gone out the window now. I've seen some pretty high fines. But A is the correct answer here. They can impose fines. Okay. Number 18. Now, here we have an agent that's called to appear before the real estate commission and hearing, at a hearing for a complaint against them. Well, what is true? They can come alone. Yeah. Well, okay. They must appear with their broker. If you can get the broker to go, they may bring legal counsel. Okay. Or they must first surrender their real estate license. Okay. Now, look at A, B, and C, and what is the common denominator there? Must. Okay, must. Must they appear alone? Look at A. Of course not. You can always bring your attorney. Okay. In fact, I highly recommend you do bring your attorney. Now, don't bring the guy that handled your divorce. That's a family law guy. Get someone who understands business law, and there's plenty of them around. Kinda. There's only about 6 that I would ever use, but they're around. Okay. They must appear with their broker. No. They must bring legal they may bring legal counsel. Okay. Or that one's warm and fuzzy, by the way. You hang on to that one. They must first surrender their real estate license. Hey, even before we prove you've done anything wrong, we're gonna make you surrender your real estate license. No. Okay, guys. Take your lawyer. Okay. It's C. Take your lawyer. Hey, it's not paranoia if they're really after you. Okay. If they're really after you, you need good legal representation, because in this hearing, there's going to be a lot of lawyers in the room. The AG's office will probably send someone. Several of the investigators at the division are actually lawyers. And for a while there, our director was a lawyer. So, I mean, you know, there's lawyers everywhere and no one's representing you. So, you know, you got to lower that playing field and bring your own lawyer. This is serious stuff. They don't have to pull you in for a hearing. It could all be informal and done with a correction letter. And that, like I said, is a gift. But if you don't follow the gift, or if they find out there's more to it later, then that all is all going to disappear. Number 19. When a licensee is found guilty of fraud. Now, who would find you guilty of fraud? A lawyer, you know, a law, a court would, right? Now, in a commission hearing, are you in court? No, but you can appeal to court if you want to. So the commissioners come out and say, okay, here's what we're going to do to you. And you say, oh, that's not fair. You're not even a real judge. You know, I'm going to go to court. Now, what can the judge do in court that the commission couldn't do? They could put you in jail. Okay. When a licensee is found guilty, the real estate commission can impose fines and license revocation, but they can't put you in jail because they're not a court of law. So these agents will say, well, I'm going to appeal to a real judge. Yeah, they may end up actually getting a bigger fine and actually doing a little jail time. Yeah. These judges are not foolish, and they're very good judges of people. I mean, especially if they sat on the bench for any time. And so if you're found guilty of fraud, you're guilty of fraud? Well, what can they do, guys? Look at number 19. It's fines and license revocation. That's what they can do. They can't come hook your car. They can't put you in jail, and they can't require you to do community service. Those three things are something that a judge could do. And maybe that's why you don't want to. You have to go before. I don't know. You know, one cool thing is one of our investigators came to us from the securities division a few years ago, and he and I were talking, and he says, you people in real estate are so nice. You know, he was used to dealing with, you know, quasi scammers and people that were coming here from other states trying to cheat our residences and entering into phony investments and all kinds of things. But he said, man, you real estate people are really nice, you know. And that's true. You know, the vast majority of all of us in the business are very sincere, hardworking individuals that are honest. Look at number 20, please. Now we're talking about a real estate license you can be jailed for fraud if A, they're found guilty at a hearing before the commission. Now, what did I say about not being in court? Well, the commission can't put you in jail. They plead guilty before the division, okay, but you're still not in court. They're tried through the justice system. Ooh, that sounds ominous. They're found innocent in a courtroom. Well, if you're found innocent, you're not going anywhere. I mean, except free. So, guys, it's got to be what? It is C. They're tried through the justice system, you know, and they can do a lot of things. Number 21, please. Okay. The real estate commission can impose fines for up to one amount per violation. Well, it was minuscule years ago, but now we've kicked it up. B is too little, C is too big. That only leaves $5 grand or $3 grand. Okay, so but we're looking at a maximum amount per violation. Okay, so it's A, it's $5,000. But that you could have, if the investigators come out and they dig through everything, they might find 3 violations. You know, and if they're, you know, not happy with you at all and are really after you, that could be 15,000. But per violation, it's 5,000. Okay. Well, if you're taking the Utah exam, I think all that information is going to be very helpful to you. Thanks for being here with us this evening. I'm Rick Roller. My number is 801-556-8000. That's 556-8000. Call me if you have questions or think I can help. I'll be happy to help you. However, do not call me during the exam itself, because that'd be cheating. Well, that could be a lot of help to you, but we're not going to do that. Thanks for being here. Thanks to Mr. Dan Naylor and pulling all this together for us. And the Institute of Real Estate Education is a place you need to go when you get your broker's license. Okay, so appreciate you guys, and we'll see you out there. Remember to call if we can help. Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching. If you want to show some appreciation to our instructors, be sure to like and subscribe so that they see how much you enjoyed it. And if you want any additional review material, check the links below for our full suite of practice materials for the real estate license exam. Thank you.